sale of the year. All smart beds are on sale. Save 50% on a new limited edition smart bed for a limited time only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com.
The Golden Gophers host the Ohio State Buckeyes to open the college football season tomorrow night at 7 right here on the home for Gopher Athletics. FM 100.3 KFAN.
Yeah, just let us know.
Okay. I'll do a quick intro of the show and introduce Guerin. And you'll punch up Guerin? Cool.
I ain't trading my youth for no suit jacket.
All right, Michael Russo from The Fan down here at the KFAN hut, which is what I decided that we're calling it. It's no longer a booth. Booth doesn't seem big enough. A beautiful night at the State Fair. A lot easier to get in here than the last couple of years, which probably isn't a big delight for the people running the fair, but it was for me getting in. So really happy that everybody is here, is joining in the stands. Got a really fun show here. I'll be on for an hour and a half. Kevin Falmouth, actually, from the Wild. We call him Wild Radio personality. Kevin Falmouth might be actually coming the final hour to shoot the breeze with me. But first up, right out of the gate, the man that every Wild fan wants to hear from, maybe the second man that everybody wants to hear from, Wild GM Bill Guerin. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sad you couldn't come down here and enjoy some fried olives or Spam on a stick.
I was there yesterday, and I enjoyed everything.
What did you enjoy? Tell me what a Bill Guerin eats and drinks at the fair.
Well, I had a Pronto Pup. That was the first thing. And I was with my wife and my daughter Grace, and so we shared a lot of it. But I had a Pronto Pup. It's fried ravioli, bratwurst, cheese curd.
Whoa.
Cheese curds, Martha's chocolate chip cookies.
Holy moly.
Hot dish on a stick. And one of the security guards there, we asked him what his favorite thing was, and he said he pointed us in the direction of a wild rice burger. And it was awesome.
Really?
Yes.
And how quickly did you wake up today and get on the Peloton, Bill?
Pretty quickly. And I had a few beers to wash it down too. So I mean, honestly, I had an absolute blast. It was perfect weather, and the last time I went was when I first got the job, and I had to do the media stuff, and so I didn't really have a chance to just kind of run around and enjoy it. And I was with Darren Sickman too. He always brings me down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this was a great experience. I loved it.
That's awesome. And this is Michael Russo from The Athletic. We're talking to Wild GM Bill Guerin. And Bill, as I said, you might be the second man with the Wild that Wild fans want to hear from. You know who the first is. Any update on the Kiril Kaprizov saga negotiations and getting him signed?
No. Mike, you know my wife, and I said I think I'm going to give Russo one-word answers tonight.
My biggest concern was that you were going to announce like something big, and then everybody here would get to watch me scramble and multitask.
No, there's nothing new to really tell you or the fans. It's pretty much status quo. We're working through it. I mean, hey, look, like I said months and months ago, that this is going to take a long time. This is going to be a process. He's not the only one. And this is just the way it goes. So don't lose faith. Don't be frustrated. It's I'm confident, but we'll see which way it goes.
The good news is that it's September 1, Bill, and he is not signed with the CSKA Moscow KHL team. In fact, they were shut out today. They probably needed him in their season debut. You never really took that as like a big threat. I mean, you made that very clear from the outset when those reports first came out in June, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said it a couple weeks ago. I don't take it as a big threat. It's not. That's not my decision to make. We offer what the Minnesota Wild can pay, and and then those things with any player, and that's from any country. They all have that option. Kiril's not alone in that. So it's like I said, it's not my decision to make. So I can't worry about that. All I can worry about is our team. And Kiril's a very important player. We'll hopefully get this done soon, but we'll take the time necessary. And he's been, this is, like I said, this is not abnormal. Like he's a smart kid. He's doing what he thinks is right, and I have no problem with that.
And we're talking with Wild GM Bill Guerin. Bill, the good news, it sounds like, of recent days is that there has been a compromise where at least he's willing to come up on the short-term deal desire. Is that fair? And does that give you hope that now there is some common ground to get sort of a midterm deal after you early in the offseason and even back maybe in March and April we're willing to go really, really long with him?
Well, listen, I just think over time, I think, Paul and Kiril have they've looked at things differently. I've looked at things differently. Like I said, I don't want to get into the fine details of it. I don't think that's fair, but there's always compromise. There's always, the point in time where you have to look at it from the other person's point of view. And you know what, I think they've done a fine job with that. And so have we. And, it's just, like I said, it's going to take a little more of that and a little more time.
With training camp coming up here on September 23rd, and we've seen in the past when a couple of years ago when you guys signed Kevin Fiala, even before training camp started, and the process of getting the work visa really delayed his start to the season, getting to camp, even maybe affected the way that he played the first month and a half of the season. Is there a deadline, sort of, not a deadline, but is there a time in your head that you've got to get this done to ensure that he's able to get here, satisfy all the COVID protocols, all that stuff, to get over to North America?
No, I'm not going to put that pressure on him or us. But I do know this, and I'm speaking from experience on 2 times that I did it in my career. You're behind. Mm-hmm. You're behind the 8 ball. And if you miss training camp, very seldomly do you have a good year. And that does, hey, look, you saw what it did for Kevin. Kevin struggled coming out of the gates, and it took him a very long time to get going. The 2 times I did it, I actually performed poorly the whole year. I couldn't catch up. Mm-hmm. And it's not a great thing, but that's the player's right. You can't really hold it against him. So, hey, look, I would have loved to have this thing done back in April. But that's not the case. So we're not going to, we're going to control things that we can control. And that's our negotiating with them.
A couple more on this subject, Bill, and then I promise you we'll move on. We're talking with Wild GM Bill Guerin. This is Michael Russo from The Athletic. Bill, you've been, as you just mentioned, you've had a couple contract disputes when you were a player, and you've been in a lot of locker rooms. And I always find as a beat writer that players are really, really understanding of all players trying to essentially get every cent they can from a team. But do teammates at some point become sort of resentful and say, all right, you're making this difficult. We're waiting for you forever here. Now you've only been here 55 games, and now you want to be a top 5 or 10 paid winger in the league. Is there a point there where there's a danger of that Kiril's going to walk into a pretty uncomfortable locker room?
I don't think so. I really don't. I know the character of our players. I know how much they respect Kiril, and they respect the process that a lot of them have been through. And this is his career. It's not theirs. And I know as teammates and as of friends that they'll be supportive, and he's doing what he feels is necessary. But I will say this, is that, they won't wait. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, they've got a season to play. We all have a season to play. So we're just gonna start on time. and we're gonna keep compete as we always do, and that's just the way it is. Like when you hold out, when I held out, you think the world's gonna stop. It doesn't. They keep on going. Your teammates are scoring goals. Some are having really good seasons. Some are jumping in the spot that you were in, and the world moves on.
When you, when you made your initial contract offer with him, several months ago, really at this point, I'm sure that you thought that this would be sort of a cut and dry, simple type of situation. Has it adversely affected the offseason from a standpoint that, you've got to save all this cap space for him? You don't know exactly what the final details of the contract are going to be. Did it affect your ability to go and pursue players, make trades, things like that?
No, I can't say that it's really affected us that much. We've earmarked a certain amount of money for him, and we've done what we really can do. We'll see where it goes from here, but like I said, at some point in time we move on, and we want him to be in the mix, but we have to prepare for the season, and I'm confident that he'll be here. I really am, and I know Kiril wants to be here. He's a really good guy. He's a really good kid. I just keep going back to it. This is just part of the process. There's nothing like crazy going on behind the scenes. These are big deals, and they just take time.
Bill, I promised you we'd move on to the next subject. Last week, Friday, let's start there. You guys signed Jordy Ben to a 1-year deal at $900,000. I really felt like all offseason there were going to be a lot of free agents that were available that all of a sudden would almost start to feel the pressure and have to come down in price, and that was probably the case here with Jordy. What led to the decision to sign him, and where do you see his role being on this team?
Well, you know what? I mean, he was exactly the type of guy that we were looking for. He's bigger, he's heavier, he plays with a bit of an edge. He competes real hard. All the people that we checked with, really vouch for this guy's character and him as a teammate, and just speaking to him, he comes off as a really good guy and a team first guy. He's going to be a bottom pairing D-man. But the last couple of years, we had Brad Hunt in the 7th spot, and that would kind of fill in as in the 6th spot sometimes. But we wanted to go kind of a different route with a bit, like I said, a bigger, heavier guy, and I think he's a really good fit for us. I know he wanted to come to Minnesota, so that's always real nice too. And I'm looking forward to seeing our new D-core. I mean, we've still got the foundation guys in place, but to have these new guys in the mix, it's going to be really exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, is that going to be one of your biggest things that you look for in training camp? Is we've seen this. Top 5, at least. You added Ian Cole last January, but we've seen this top 5 in place for the last several years, and that blue line was the strength of the team. But Soucy goes in expansion, and Cole goes via free agency, and obviously the Suter decision to buy him out. How much is that sort of the biggest question mark going into this season, that you can retain that, limit the chances for guys like Talbot and Kakinen, and continue to be strong defensively?
Well, I think we replace those guys with very good players. I actually think we can be better. And to me, I think we kept our top 3 defensemen. I think we added a real good veteran in Goligoski and 3 guys that will fill out our the bottom pair and the number 7 that, Kulikov, Merrill, and Ben are they're seasoned players. These guys are successful NHL players. It's tough. It's tough to lose guys. We love Carson Soucy and Ian Cole, and Ryan Suter had good years here, but that's the game. Things change. Yep.
I remember at a press conference earlier this offseason, it might have even been the Suter and Parisi press conference where we first met you guys face to face, or maybe it was even after the playoffs. You talked about Kalen Addison. And he made it extremely clear to us that, just because, he got a taste in the NHL last year, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs, that he's going to have to earn his roster spot. Now he comes to camp seeing 7 guys on one-way contracts in front of him. Is that a sign that you pretty much expect that he's going to have to start in Iowa and bide his time and continue to develop, and then eventually you'll bring him up here?
I mean, you know what? Listen, it's always a competition. And, you know what? Guys like Kalen Addison and Matthew Boldy and Marco Rossi and Adam Beckman, all these guys, like we want them to push. We want them to take someone's job. We want them to make the decision hard on us. But by no means, like I said before, we're not giving people jobs. This is the business that we're in, and that's of earning your spot and taking a job. You have to make us not be able to keep you out of the lineup, and that's what we're expecting. If we just left the spot open for anybody, where's the drive? We won't see the highest level of their competitiveness. So these younger players, as much as we want them to push, they've got to earn it.
Right. And conversely, up front, the drive there could be the fact that that you have 5 or 6 or 7 guys that might vie for a roster spot and a couple spots open. Does that create the drive there that now they're, and again, assuming that you're not going to sign anybody else or trade for anybody, that these guys, the Boldies, the Rossies, the Durs, Duhaimes, Rouse, Beckman, whoever, come to camp and actually now compete with each other to try to earn those couple roster spots?
Yeah, and I think it does that, and I think it does something else too, and I think it gives them hope. I think to have a spot or 2 open, it gives guys hope that they can make the team. If it's always, and I can't say this is going to be like this every year, but if every other year or most years there's a spot there available, then hey, you know what? Guys set their sights on that, and I think that's healthy. I think it just picks up the competitiveness in the guys because they see something attainable.
You've obviously you've shown in your history so far in your couple of years here as Wild GM that you definitely don't want to rush young guys to the NHL lineup. Rossi is 19 years old. He's coming off, obviously, the health issue. He hasn't played really meaningful hockey for the last 18 months. Do you think that that no matter what he does in camp, that he will probably need some time in Iowa to just bide some time?
No, I can't say that. I mean, it's like riding a bike. I mean, he did play competitive hockey. He did play in Switzerland last year. He played in the World Junior. It's been a little while, but you know what? He trains extremely hard. He's extremely dedicated. Hockey's hockey. You know what? If a player has a knee injury or back surgery or whatever it is, they don't forget how to play hockey. And you know what? He hasn't forgotten. He hasn't lost his drive. If anything, he's more driven and more competitive. So no, we're not gonna shut the door on anybody.
Similarly, Boldy, he's older. He's played a lot of hockey, and he went to Iowa last year and really, dipped his toe in and functioned really well. And there was a point, if you remember, down the stretch of game 6 or 7 of the playoffs, I think you guys actually considered putting him in when I think Foligno was dealing with something, and Nick Bonino, I believe, his wife gave birth, and you didn't know what the lineup was going to be like. Is that taste that he got in Iowa enough to put him in the real running to earn a legitimate roster spot, or same thing as you just said with Rossi that he's going to have to come in and earn it?
Yeah, he regardless, he's going to have to come in and earn it. That. You know what? But that it could be enough. You know what? Let's see how he does. I mean, he could come in and just have a terrific camp and force his way on, and that would be fine. He could also come in and just perform at a level that we're like, you know what? He needs a little more seasoning. Let's go this other direction with him. And a point I wanted to make before, it was I also think this is really good for the older players because I do remember being an older player, and when you're getting pushed by the young guys, that creates a little desperation in you. You know these young guys are coming, and you have to be on top of your game. If you're out of shape, if you're not ready for camp, if you don't perform, you're going to feel the pressure. So that's also a good thing. You see who, kind of gets their competitive juices up as a veteran, so they don't lose their job. So I just think it's a win-win for everybody.
Final couple minutes with Wild GM Bill Guerin, and thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday night, Bill. I constantly kind of group Dewar and Duhaime in together as all right, maybe Dewar or Duhaime. Could you tell everybody that maybe aren't as familiar with those Iowa Wild guys who've paid their dues the last couple of years, what type of players each are and what positions? Like Dewar, I think he was drafted as a winger, but he played a lot of center last year. Duhaime seems to be an energy guy from my neck of the woods in South Florida. Could you tell everybody about those guys and what they could expect in training camp and maybe a role for them if they make it?
You just told everybody exactly what they are.
Exactly.
No, you know what? You're right. I mean, Dewar's more of like a really good two-way center. He's got great hockey sense. He competes, and you know he's paying his dues, and he's done really well. He's really made the most out of this opportunity. Duhaime is a bigger guy. He plays more in kind of straight lines, kind of like Foligno. Really, he's got great speed. I wouldn't say his hockey sense is the same as Dewar, but they're different players, and he brings a physical and speed element that we really like.
Fun question from State of Hoppy Bill says, if you were in your prime, where would you slot into this Wild lineup, and which line mates would you likely have the most chemistry with?
Oh boy,
right wing next to Kaprizov. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of I would love to have played with Zuki because he looks to pass and I just like to shoot. Kiril's always making plays. Eki's just that big horse type guy. It would have been fun to play with Moose because he can just kind of raise a lot of havoc out there, and it'd be some really good players. That's a funny question. I like that. But yeah, at different parts of my career, I would have slotted in 1 through 4 somewhere along the line.
Billy, it's been a busy offseason for you. What's some fun stuff that you have done? Have you gotten a chance to get out of town and enjoy time with your family?
You know what? I have. I've gotten a little bit of time. We spent some time at our house back in Ocean City, New Jersey. We've spent quite a bit of time here, but anytime that we're all together, it's always fun. We have a blast. We dropped our daughter Lexi off at Arizona State this year. That we had a great time down there, and it's been a crazy summer, very condensed, but we've mixed in quite a bit of fun. We always do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I love that story you told me earlier this offseason where you guys went to Ocean City and you actually told your kids no friends. I'm sure that you have a revolving door at your house with as many young kids as you have, and this one you wanted just family time.
Yeah, it's usually kind of like Delta House where the doors are opening and closing and kids are running to the beach and back, and they're kind of reloading their coolers and stuff, and it's actually awesome. But we needed the 1 week where it was just us and just spend time, the 6 of us, and because we're all going our separate ways soon. And but we always try to have fun as a family and spend as much time as we can together.
Well, hey, Bill, really, again, appreciate you coming on, especially at night here. Maybe delayed your nights, have some fun here at home. But really appreciate it. Looking forward to rookie camp and seeing you in person again around, September 14th.
Yep, that sounds great, Mike. Enjoy the fair, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks. That is Wild GM Bill Guerin with a little update on the Wild season coming up, and obviously Kiril Kaprizov. When we come back, hour left in the show, and we're going to open up the mic for a lot of people to ask questions. This is Michael Russo on The Fan.